Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I just got off the water for my day one here at Lake St. Clair. We're gonna recap this at the end of each day, and hopefully I'm doing this 4 days. That means I made all the cuts to recap it for you guys right here on Project E.
From the top of the mountain, yeah, we fought our way to the top of the mountain. Yeah, we fought our way to the top of the mountain. Yeah, we ever coming down from the top of the mountain.
Day one, man, I had to come back to the camper and get some clothes on. Running in, I got wet, like super wet. I went to look at my depth finder to see if I was getting close to my waypoint, and I stuffed away, like I stuffed it bad. And so I was soaking wet, so I came back to the camper, put some dry clothes on, and yeah, my day wasn't very good. You know, it started out really slow. I started on a flat that was really shallow. Started throwing a Berkeley spy bait, and I caught one, caught a few other small ones, caught one on a Ned rig. It just didn't really happen there on that flat. I spent the whole first period there, and I really thought I could make it happen on that flat. And just, I don't know what happened to those fish. I don't know. I do not know. I saw a lot of fish still in there. I just couldn't make them bite. You know, Andy was in there. There's a few other competitors that came later in the day in there, but I ended up leaving, and I ended up going into the river because the wind got really, really bad, and I just thought I could be more effective. You know, one of the things to do when you've got these conditions, and you know, the forecast was 15 to 25 here on land. It was 30-mile-an-hour winds out in the lake, is to be effective. You got to go somewhere where you can be effective at what you're doing. And you know, so I thought my best chance of being effective was in the river. Ran in the river, and the first 3 or 4 spots I hit, just nothing other than a great big muskie. My best spot, I'm reeling up a smallmouth, a little one, you know, and a muskie eats it, and it's a giant. And I kind of wanted to land it just to show you guys, but I got my hands on it, got slime all up down my sleeve. And when I went to, you know, go like that, and then I grabbed that 8-pound test, because I fought it for a long time on 8, and I just grabbed it and it broke, and I was done with it. But I kind of feel like when a big muskie like that gets on your best stuff, I think it runs him smallmouth off. Like, it ate that smallmouth I was reeling in, and I'd fished there for a while, you know. Anyway, long story short, I ran a bunch more of that stuff and nothing. And again, I wasn't being effective. You know, I was throwing a drop shot, throwing that Ned rig. That's what I wanted to throw. It was, you know, that 14 to 18 foot of water where I had those bites in practice. And I picked up a crankbait, hadn't thrown a crankbait in the river any, and immediately caught one, caught another one, and kind of got my day turned around. Kind of salvaged my day. That's what I'm gonna call it. We salvaged the day. We finished in 24th place, about 4 or 5 pounds out of the cut, which is a salvage. You know, I need to be able to move on to the next round. I need to be able to have a chance to make the next round. And if I hadn't caught those fish, you know, on that crankbait today, I wouldn't have salvaged my day. So with an hour to go, I ran out into the lake, into the big water, and that's when I took that wave over. And I get out there, and with about 30 minutes to go, I catch the biggest fish yet, a 413. And I just ran out of time out there. So looking forward to my next round. I think going out into that lake, I'm hoping I've got better conditions. I'm just gonna cover as much water out in that lake as I can, keep that crankbait in my hand, and hopefully put a bunch of fish on that score tracker. In Major League Fishing, you know, we have a boat official in our boat. A lot of times we'll have a camera in our boat, you know, so with 3 people in the boat, you know, they've got the ruling that if they deem it necessary for safety of these guys in the boat, and the angler, they're gonna let us trailer. And with that hour ride around time, you know, guys can disperse across the lake. And initially I was gonna trailer down and put in the river. Then I found out that boat ramp that I was gonna put in at was a little sketchy. So I didn't want to come back at the end of the day and my Optimum battery General Tire truck be broke into. So I ended up putting in right there at takeoff and running. It was a good decision. I don't regret it, but I love that decision in Major League Fishing, being able to make changes on the fly when conditions tell us, hey, we need to trailer. I'd much rather trailer than cancel a day. You know, we're all away from home as much as anybody. You guys have to fish on those windy days. We ought to too. There's no reason we should ever cancel a day if we don't have to. I was in 37th. I didn't realize I got that low. Yeah, that's pretty bad. You know, for me mentally, I have my score tracker keep giving me updates with every fish the entire day. Like, he is busy. Like, he never is quiet. But I like that. It keeps me going. It tells me the fish are biting. And it stinks being in 37th place, you know. I've been there before in the past, and you keep battling, you keep grinding. And that's all I know how to do, and it just keeps telling me to make adjustments, you know, with that score tracker being down that low. What I'm doing is not working, and you know, I just kept adjusting. You know, I had a lot of things going through my head of things to try, and with that said, though, with the conditions, you can't do a lot. You know, you can't run all over this lake with the 5 and 6 footers we had out there this afternoon. One time I probably had I put rods up and get rods out and put rods up. You know, when the wind started blowing, you know, it really limited what was effective, you know, so it really boiled down to throwing a crankbait, spinnerbait, jerkbait, those kinds of things. You know, trying to fish something on the bottom just wasn't effective. You know, I really wanted to throw that Berkeley spy bait a bunch, but just the conditions weren't right for it. You know, if you could throw it, the grass got all over, there was grass everywhere. You know, in practice, I caught the majority of my fish on a Ned rig and a drop shot. So, you know, the one thing that I take away from it is just keep trying things. You know, that's why I've got so many rods on my deck. You know, I'll just keep trying things. If something's not working, try something else, because eventually I've got to run across something that's working. You know, the goal is here just to keep surviving, keep grinding, keep moving on, you know, to make that top 20. So I need to move up a little bit, hopefully get on something. You know, I'm going to completely change things up. I'm going to make it different come day 2. You know, I'm still swinging. I still think you can still win this event. You know, in my mind, I can still win this event. I just got to find that right group of fish. I'm going to treat the next day as a practice day and hopefully find that group of fish that propel me all the way to the championship round. Man, I had a really rough day, guys. It's hard to talk about these, you know, when you don't have a good event. You know, I tried a lot of different things today. You know, I cranked offshore grass. That's really what I wanted to do all day. And I really pretty much kept that crankbait in my hand the majority of the day. You know, I caught 2 right off the bat, you know, probably 150, 200 yards apart in that area where I caught that 413 the first day. And I just don't know, I just don't understand this lake. That's the bottom line. This lake has been a nemesis, a thorn in my side for a long time. You can have such a great practice, catch so many fish out there, you know, just blowing and going in the wind. You know, I feel like I'm being really productive, covering a lot of water and getting a lot of bites in practice. And then you come back tournament and you try to make those same drifts and move over and move around, and it never works for me. Every time I get sucked into that offshore cranking bite and you catch big ones, I didn't catch very many of them. You know, I did run back down to the river where I caught those 4 or 5 really quick in the first day cranking and never had a bite down there. Then I ran all the way up to the mouth of the St Clair River and fished up there. You know, I had a stretch of shallow grass where I had caught one and had like 5 following it. Then I saw like 5 more fish as I was fishing and had a few more bites in practice, and I never had a bite up there either. So it's just frustrating. I tried a couple more new areas. I did end up catching my 3rd one, you know, at the mouth of the St Clair River on a drop shot, but you know, I don't know, guys. I do not understand this. You know, I didn't largemouth fish any, and I think, you know, probably a bunch of these guys probably caught some largemouth, but still, I would have to think smallmouth's going to win this 100%. And you know, maybe I shouldn't have stayed in St. Clair. Maybe I should have gone more in those rivers further. You know, I didn't go but a mile or 2 in the Detroit River. And I was a mile or 2 shy of actually being in the St. Clair River, just the mouth of it. It is what it is. You know, I'm going to make a vow to come back up here sometime with no tournament on my schedule and just fish for a week. Just get comfortable with this place. And I think that's what it's going to take. You know, just when you don't have a lot of confidence in a place, it probably just equates, you know, I ran all over this lake. You know, I forgot to tell you, I left the St Clair River and I ran all the way back down to that group of offshore grass fish that's 3 miles shy of the Detroit River. And I put a lot of miles on this thing in the rough waves today, just trying to catch fish. It wasn't for the lack of effort, guys. So the baits I used, I threw that a bunch. Like, that was my main bait. I had, this one was actually on 17-pound test. It didn't see a lot of action. I had one rigged on 14, I had another one rigged on 12, just depending on how deep that grass was. I was just trying to keep it above the grass. I wanted it basically 3-4 foot off the bottom, you know, a couple feet off the top of the grass. You know, that was a big issue today. Just that main spot that I had that I felt so good about, there's just grass floating everywhere, and it was like 50% success rate. You'd make a cast and it'd come in clean. The next cast it'd be fouled, you know, 20 yards into it. But, you know, I did catch a couple fish on that flatworm, the new bigger size at 4.25. You know, there's not a lot to a recap when you catch, what, 5 or 6 fish the first day and 3 today. You know, I lost a few fish, but it wouldn't have mattered. So it'll be a few days before I get over this one, but I don't understand this lake. I like it, but I hate it. It's a love-hate relationship because I have so much fun in practice, but I still have yet to equate it to a good tournament. But guys, I appreciate you watching. I wish I could help you more, teach you more from my mistakes in this event. You know, it's just a matter of not finding the right area, you know, and with practice, the first day just being blown out and everything muddy, the second day kind of scrambling, fishing inside the rivers and really not catching anything, you know, I just never had the right area on the lake, and it's just the lack of my knowledge on this lake. So it's one of those places I'm going to have to learn, and I appreciate you guys following along. Tune in next week. We got an awesome Project E. We are gonna tour my brand new 2022 Nitro Z21 XL, this bad boy right here. I'm so happy with it. It's gonna be a really cool video, guys. I did a lot of on the water testing for you guys, timed a lot of things just to give you guys some real data. Boat completely loaded, tournament loaded. You guys are gonna see it all right here on Project E. So tune in next week. Thanks a lot for following along. Appreciate it, guys.